Eternal damnation is here at Hell in a Cell.
Mariya,
Hey, James.
we watched a thing.
We did. What did we watch, James?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Wanna talk about it?
No.
No?
No.
Am I doing the intro this time and you're doing the recap?
No.
Is that what's happening?
No, let's not ruin a good thing.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
We watched
Then
Mission
you do
Hill.
The intro.
I'm trying to.
Uh-huh.
Mission Hill.
Yep.
We watched Mission Hill, not forgotten, but canceled before its time show, unfortunately. Season 1 of 1, episode 13, Plan 9 from Mission Hill, original release date, August 11th, 2002. Remember 2002, Mariya?
Yep, 2002. What about
Do you remember it at all?
2002. How old was I? 4 years old. I remember that I had a dress. I had a pink skirt with the cows from the Range movie, the Disney Range movie embroidered on it. Home on the Range. Yep.
Do we have to watch Home on the Range now?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We're not watching that. That was a weird Disney movie. Let's not watch that.
Anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. Created by Bill Oakley and Josh Weinstein. No relation, I think. No, nothing? Nothing to that?
No,
Okay.
nothing.
All right, never mind then.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure everyone knows who we're talking about when you say no relation to,
Yeah, pretty much.
There's very few Weinsteins who are very famous for certain activities.
There's a few, I think.
Anyway.
What?
Are there?
Maybe.
How many Weinsteins were convicted for sexual assault?
I mean, all through history? One?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, written by Dan McGrath and directed by Jim Shellhorn.
Yep.
All right, Mariya, give us the summary of this.
Okay, so this episode 13, who I had to learn the names of the characters of a little bit. Anyway, so the main character, who, as far as I remember, his name is Kevin, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. He walks past a movie theater, like the really old-timey ones with the removable alphabets and everything.
It's called a marquee, Mariya.
It's called a marquee?
I believe so. Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know. I'm not old enough.
Thanks.
This is like a consistent theme, James. Get over it. And so he finds that there are X-rated movies showing.
Do you know what that means, Mariya?
Like in adult terms? Are we talking about that?
No, I mean, do you know what the rating system means?
I mean, isn't it just like a guideline of who's allowed to watch what?
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Well, have you ever heard of X-rated movies before?
I have, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think we talked about it a little bit in a few different classes, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. Also about the fact that they're not technically like laws, so people can't actually stop you if you're not of a certain age from watching the movie. So they're not like laws, they're just guidelines that these people should not, watch these movies. So technically they can't stop you.
Yeah.
But also like don't do it.
I mean,
maybe.
Sure.
Anyway, don't scar your children before their time, God, maybe.
There's so many babies and like little children in the Prisoner of Azkaban Harry Potter movie.
Oh God.
When I watched it,
no.
I believe. And I was
they
just
must
thinking,
have been
like,
scarred for life,
yeah.
man. Oh God.
It's a
How many people do you think went to watch the Deadpool movie and then realized that it was not for children?
So many.
So many, right? It's like, it's right there. And then there's like this, probably going to be like this soccer mom come up and be like, I want to talk to your manager.
I want the censored version of this superhero movie.
My kids want to watch this movie, and I need the censored version because there's a lot of poop talk in that movie.
Poop talk. I love it.
Anyway.
I mean, it's fitting that we're talking about this when we're watching this.
Yeah,
Anyway,
definitely.
Continue.
Although there wasn't a lot of poop talk in this one.
I meant movie talk.
Yes, movie talk. Yes, this is relevant, very relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, he thinks these are actual porno movies and not like adult movies in the sense that it's for mature audiences. And he goes inside. He buys a ticket. He goes inside. And he realizes that nothing very stimulating is happening. And he goes out to get some popcorn, and he runs into his neighbor, and he realizes that the neighbor is the one who's in charge of projecting the movie. And from his neighbor, he finds out that these are actually older movies that were very popular then, or were very renowned movies, but they were very old. They were like classic movies for movie elites who like only watching Oscar-nominated films.
Mean, movie elites don't like watching Oscar-nominated films.
Okay, for the niche crowd that only likes to watch Oscar-nominated films. There we go.
Okay.
And so he, his neighbor, what was his neighbor's name?
Gary? No,
it wasn't Gary. That was the wrong name that we finally...
Walter?
Walter. Was it?
Fuck.
Wally. His name was Wally.
Yes.
Wally Langford. His name
nice.
shows up a few times on his door. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Wally is his neighbor who usually runs the screening, and he's one of those people who like to watch those kinds of movies. And so he gets Kevin hooked onto these movies to the point where his friends are bored because he watches these kinds of movies and
these
not
kinds
the
of
general
movies.
Yeah, these kinds of movies in not the like general public consumption action pew pew movies. And eventually there's this one movie that's supposed to be airing whose tape was like long forgotten or lost, Gary, freaking calling him Gary again,
Sorry.
who Wally's boyfriend is supposedly starring in. And Kevin goes through a lot of trouble to try and promote and have people come watch this movie because he finds out that Wally was the director of this movie. And so he like promotes it a bunch, and like he goes talks to a bunch of people and tells them, oh, the tape's been found because it's airing, blah blah blah. People come for the screening. A lot of people come for the screening, and the movie is terrible. And we find out that the movie was actually had a really good budget, but and had like good stars and good funding. But Wally fell in love with what's his boyfriend's name?
Gus.
Gus, yes. Wally falls in love with Gus while he's on the set. Essentially because he's in love with Gus, gives him the lead part. And Gus is terrible at acting. His pronunciations are horrifying. Everyone quits, and his funding is all lost, and so he makes the movie with minimal props, like a fedora is a spaceship. God, that I can never get over that. Anyway. And anyways, fedoras have been ruined for me anyway because of associations with certain types of people.
Milady.
Please stop, James.
Man.
My cringe is acting up right now.
Do you want to see my sword collection?
Oh, God. Can we not go down that road? Anyway, yeah, so everyone's laughing at the movie because that's terrible. And Wally gets mad at Kevin for, promoting it so much and actually having people come watch it and making a fool of him. Eventually he kind of gets over it. And Kevin goes to talk to Wally, and tries to explain to him that essentially this movie was like a big Valentine's for Gus, because he destroyed his career for his love for Gus, essentially. And yeah, and he shows Wally how even though it's a terrible movie, people are still enjoying it and they love laughing to it. And yeah, and Gary, for crying out loud. And Wally comes home. Gary is equal to Wally, everyone, for anyone who's confused. So Wally comes home and he finds like a cute little note from Gus, and he goes inside and he sees Gus wearing like a helmet. It's a fishbowl. And he's just asleep, like Gus is asleep, and so it's like a cute moment. He kisses him on the forehead, tucks him in bed, and goes to bed too. And yeah, that's what happens this episode. Very gay.
Very gay.
It was beautiful.
That's what you ended on. Beautiful. Very gay.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was nice. I liked it. Yeah. It was a very fun episode. This is the first one where we're actually seeing openly gay characters of the TV shows that we've addressed so far. This is, right? The first one where we're seeing openly homosexual characters.
Yes. Yeah, we haven't nope. Yep, this is the first one.
Yep.
It's a good start.
Which is really cool. And I was very surprised because this one is 2002, and I mean, I don't know what the situation was.
Well, actually, we don't really know the original air date when it aired on the WB channel.
Okay.
This air date there's an asterisk next to it because this is when it aired on Adult Swim.
I see.
But you know what Adult Swim is, right?
I do not. What is Adult Swim, James?
Oh, Adult Swim is just Cartoon Network. You know Cartoon Network, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's just their adult animation block.
Oh, I see.
That came around in the late 90s, early 2000s. Anyway, they bought the rights to this, I think, to show it after the WB. Right. I don't think it even aired on the WB. It might have. At least this episode, I mean.
Oh, this particular one?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they ordered the full season. According to my scant research, they ordered the full season, and then they only produced the 13 episodes.
Right.
Which this one being the last one.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, this show's great.
Yeah, I like that. I'm actually very sad that it only had one season. I would have liked to see more. Like the animation style is very, very adorable.
It's very pop art.
It is. Like the colors are really nice.
Yeah, it reminded me of a comic strip.
Yeah.
Style.
Yeah, definitely.
Which we need more of those. Hilda also reminds me.
Hilda was so beautiful.
Yeah, but very this could be like a comic.
Yeah, it could definitely be like a graphic novel. Yeah.
Yeah, the colors. Since
we're on like the animation, there's also like how the colors of their clothes and just them in general changes when they're in darkness.
Oh yeah.
Quote unquote. Like when they're in the theater, their skin's like all blue and their hair's also blue and everything's blue. when they're like in the dark to show that they're, you know, in the dark and not actually have you look at black screen. Which is a really interesting choice, and it works really well with the art style that they have going. Also, like I said before, like sometimes their hair is blue and then sometimes it's black, and
it's a style choice.
It is, yeah, and it's interesting. It works well though. Like the blue hair works well with the kind of style that they have going.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it's still influenced by kind of the mid '90s style where you had human characters who also had different like colorful skin tones, like green and blue.
Right.
Which was a trend. That kind of quickly died out, but.
Right.
Anyway.
What was the female's name? I forget.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Posey is her name. Her hairstyle is really weird. I don't know if those
she's
are
got it
supposed
all
to be...
in back and then kind of just a few hairs out front.
Yeah, I don't know if those are supposed to be bangs, or are they supposed to be like braided?
I think the character designers didn't know what bangs were.
I don't think they understood female hair.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a weird choice.
It's a weird style.
It's a weird choice for hair.
Yes.
And we don't really have many other female characters to go off of, at least in this episode, except for her.
There was one, which was the brother's girlfriend.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
She had more normal looking hair. So.
Yeah, normal-ish hair.
Ish.
Yeah, a little bit, slightly normal. Yeah.
All right, so this was our first adult animation.
Yeah.
This animation specifically not made for children to, well, sell a product, basically.
Yeah.
Consume, sell something to. This is
right.
This aired on the WB network for anybody who remembers that.
Right.
Which is now, what is it now? I can't remember. I haven't watched TV in a long time. Like network TV.
Isn't it just WB? Isn't it just called WB?
No. They rebranded it to something else. Is it? Well, around here, I think it's Joe TV now. Maybe. No. Yes. Maybe. I can't remember. They've rebranded it so many times. It's like how ABC is a Disney channel.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, it's weird. Anyway.
Well, back in India, we have a WB like channel.
Okay.
But it's mostly for like movies.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's mostly movies.
It's probably what it is here too.
Yeah, it's just movies, and it's called WB. As far as I remember, which is still like almost like 4 years ago since I've actually turned on cable TV back at home.
Yeah. Is it CW now?
Too long. Is CW Warner Brothers?
It might be. I don't know. We've wasted a lot of time talking about this. Anyway, it's you have no experience with adult animation, really, right, Mariya?
No, I do not know.
So yeah, I wanted to give you something good.
Yeah, no, I've heard of a few. Like, there's a couple good ones on Netflix, so I've heard. But I
which
have
ones?
not actually. I've heard Big Mouth is pretty good.
Nope.
It's that bad? My psych professor recommended that to me. Jeez.
He's a fool.
Well, first of all, it's a she.
She's a fool. I apologize. I throwing my gender biases right in my face, and deservedly.
But well, she said it was pretty good, so I was, like authority figure recommending it, so
No.
It's bad. I see.
We'll get to some of the garbage that is adult animation.
Oh God. And then I know that The Simpsons are also an adult animation.
Right. But The Simpsons is good.
Yeah, no. So I've heard.
Yes. I actually rewatched an episode yesterday.
Oh.
And it had me laughing.
Were you looking for prospective future episodes
yes, actually.
For the hell that we are experiencing in the cell.
Yes, I want to give you the best of the best with The Simpsons. Which I was looking through a lot of them, and I'm like, all these are great.
Right.
But one of the better ones.
Right. Well, we digress.
Yes. Anyway, with adult animation, there's a lot less emphasis on the animation part.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a pretty stark contrast to pretty much everything we've watched up until now.
Yes.
Except for Sonic the Hedgehog.
I don't even know what they were focusing on in that one, man.
Because you don't have any like over-the-top action sequences or characters really doing much besides talking.
Yeah.
So a good show will either really go hard on the animation to make it as like expressive and comedic as possible. Going more cartoony, and that's where your Simpsons is.
Right.
Like they have a lot of like over the top sequences. But they're a show outside of reality.
Right.
Or you could go really stylized in the visuals. Which is definitely how Mission Hill took it.
Right.
Because they're a sitcom. Basically a sitcom, but it's animated. So instead of just having characters who just so happen to be animated, talking to each other, you gotta up the visuals.
Right.
Because your animation is just literally people talking. Which is,
and they do a pretty good job about it too, because like all the characters have like very distinct features. Like that there are two characters that are related because they're the only two with the same hair color. And everyone else has like different hair colors and just very different facial shapes and features, and it's very distinct. Like the characters are very succinct in their way of just keep making them look distinct from each other. And that's nice. It's nice to see that. Like we got a bald guy, we got a guy with a mustache, we got a guy with a beard.
Right. And this is pre-Flash. Girl with weird hair. Yeah. This is pre-Flash, which Flash is a great tool. You know what Flash is, right, Mariya?
I do not.
Oh, you do not?
Well, I mean, I might know, but I might not.
It's an animation program.
Okay. I assumed.
Yeah, Adobe puts it out.
Okay.
Anyway, Adobe Flash is it's a program. Basically, early days, especially in 2002, it was very, very limited. But nowadays, it's pretty useful. It's been, I think it's been pretty much overtaken by a few other programs like Toon Boom and some other things.
Right.
But early days, very easy program to use to make animation. Digitally.
Right.
I mean, anyway. But but talking about how different everybody looks in Mission Hill got me kind of thinking, and I'm like, character designs wise for a lot of adult cartoons is not a high priority anymore.
Right.
I think. I shouldn't say for all of them, but like bad adult cartoons.
Right.
Especially in the Adobe area where you can just kind of copy paste. I don't want to say copy paste, but like do it easier. Whereas Mission Hill, The Simpsons and various other things have very unique character designs.
Right.
That really do stand out.
Right. Yeah, especially this one, like, you can see very clearly. Like, everyone is very, very different looking. Even, like, body type wise. They're
Posture.
not just all... Yeah, posture. Posture is very different for a lot of them, actually. Like, Wally is very slouched, as compared to, like, Gus, who's a little... is not completely proper posture, but still, like... You know, you can tell they have different postures, and, you know, he's got, like, a little beer belly going for him, you know.
Do you know the silhouette theory? Mariya?
I do not. What's the silhouette theory, James?
Well, when you're designing a character, you want their silhouette, so them completely in black, to be instantly recognizable.
Oh, I see.
It's not a hard and fast rule.
Right.
But it's a good rule to follow if you're making a character.
Right.
And I think all of these characters have very unique, distinctive silhouettes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. No, I really like the animation style, and I was talking about the font as well.
Oh, yeah,
they used,
the font.
You know? The fonts,
That's a thing.
The fonts were nice, yeah. And it fit well with their, like, kind of wonky designs. The fonts were also a little wonky. And just a very consistent theme overall, you know. Yeah.
Definitely. Animation nerds will not like this because it's rough. It's not crisp or clean in a lot of ways.
Well, okay, so there's a rule in sort of art, in any kind of art form, that if you're going for a certain style, do it often enough that it doesn't look like you made a mistake. So for example, when I was doing photography, when we were working with sort of grainier or just maybe slightly damaged film, because I was working with analog photography, and we worked with, like, the darkroom and stuff. And if someone's roll got, well, damaged, either, like, during the developing process or, like, afterwards, they didn't take care of it, whatever, and they still decided to use it, our professor's one rule of thumb was, if it's screwed up, then make sure that all of the pictures in your series are screwed up so it looks like you did it on purpose, and it does not look like you screwed up. Which works with this animation because they're going for a very consistent sort of wonky little theme. So the you know, the style is very informal. The backgrounds are also very very wonky, and, like, not like the doors aren't perfect and the windows aren't perfect, you know. Yeah. And so even the font being a little tilted here and there, or just not entirely consistent, works well with the theme that they're going for, because everything else is also inconsistent and also a little wobbly or wonky to look at. So if all the elements are wonky, then everyone knows that this isn't done on purpose, you know, and this is the art style that they're going for, essentially. And so you have no right to complain, is what I'm saying.
I mean, I'm putting a straw man out there.
Yeah, no, yeah, I know.
I will add on something though to that. And I will say, if you're going to make something look wonky on purpose rather than through accident, make sure you know why you're doing it.
Right.
Because I'm reminded of a film called Battlefield Earth.
I have never even heard of this.
Don't watch it, it's terrible.
Okay.
But anyway, 90% of the film is at a Dutch angle. Do you know what a Dutch angle is?
I think that we talked about it.
Did we?
Is it like the one from, like, the bottom up?
Yes. Yeah, where the camera is angled slightly.
Yeah.
90% of the film is at a Dutch angle for no reason. Like, it's a sci-fi adventure movie.
Okay.
With laser beams and pew 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 and weird aliens.
Right.
There's no reason it should be at a Dutch angle when there's a
Right.
bunch of people standing in a field.
Right.
So if you're gonna do something, creatively, what's the best way to put it?
Creatively not uniform.
There you go. Creatively not uniform. Make sure you know why you're doing it.
Right.
Don't just do it because it looks cool.
I mean, yeah. I suppose when it comes to animation, if it looks good, then that's I guess what you're looking for. But it works with, at least with this show. Like, it works. The theme works because it's an adult, sitcom type, informal. Just it works with it. It's not like this is a documentary about dying species. And then it would be kind of out of place.
Right.
But it's like an adult comedy that, it works because it kind of speaks to the socially awkwardness of like the characters, because they're not like, they're still younger, at least the main character, and he's very, very awkward, as we saw in the starting scenes. So
trying to go into what he thinks is a porno theme.
Oh my god.
A lot of the movies are actual movies, though, which I was surprised by.
Mm-hmm.
Like Midnight Cowboy is an actual movie.
Mm-hmm.
And they reference 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, that's the one that he's like, the greatest sci-fi movie ever, and his friends are like, when are the aliens coming? When is the fight starting?
And then before that, he's talking about Twister.
Oh god.
And Michael Crichton.
Uh-huh.
It's funny. If you know what that means, it's funny.
It's good references for movie nerds.
It is a good, this episode is actually pretty tailor-made for movie nerds like me.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of it's kind of made just for me.
Right.
As somebody who loves like art house movies, but also terrible movies.
Right.
Because it's all, the movie that Wally made is a complete homage.
Garbage.
No, it's garbage, yes. But it's also an homage, Mariya.
Is it?
Yes, to the title Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh.
Yes,
yeah, I was going to ask you, why is it called Plan 9 from Mission Hill? So I guess you answered that question for me.
Yeah, it's completely a reference to this old 40s movie. Directed by this guy named Ed Wood.
Okay.
Who he wanted to be a director.
And
he got together a bizarre cast of some actual named actors.
Okay.
To make this, and he tricked a church into funding it.
Lovely.
They wanted to make him
artist.
like I wouldn't call him a con artist, but maybe. Anyway.
If you're tricking someone to fund something that they don't know that they're funding about, you're conning them. That's is true. Literally the definition of conning something.
Fair point.
So the church got conned, you guys.
They did get conned.
Anyway.
He made this completely horrible movie called Plan 9 from Outer Space. It's awful, but hilarious in how bad it is.
Right.
And it has survived to the modern day because of how bad it is.
I see.
Yes.
Interesting. That explains why you remember this episode so much, too.
Maybe, yeah. But yeah, for a movie nerd, it's pretty much like, hey, I get that, and I also get that.
I understand this. I understand that reference.
Yes, but it's not in a like wink wink, like, hey, you know this, right?
Right.
It's more like we're just throwing it out there because these two characters are talking about movies.
Right.
So I enjoy that. It's not pandering to me. If you know,
yeah. Yeah, no, it's naturally being brought up, and it's not just being thrown in your face. Like,
yes.
Oh, movie nerds, we talked about this in our animated episode, by the way. You know, like it's a genuine part of the plot kind of thing.
Yeah, Wally and Kevin
Yeah,
are
no, I
bonding
actually
over
really
movies.
enjoyed this TV show, and yeah, I'm really
Okay.
sad that it only lasted like a season.
Mm-hmm.
13
Yeah.
being a very odd number to stop on.
It is, yes. It is actually kind of strange because animation, it takes a long time to make.
Right.
So, like, a single episode of a cartoon, 20 minutes, 22-minute long cartoon, takes 6 months.
Oh, jeez.
Yes. I remember that actually because Nickelodeon, they would run little behind-the-scenes things during Rugrats, or after Rugrats.
Uh-huh.
Like showing the voice actors, and like one of the creators was like, yeah, one episode of Rugrats takes 6 months to make.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's a long time.
It is, which is why a lot of second seasons are already greenlit before the first season is even aired.
Okay.
So a cartoon having, also if you like a cartoon and it gets a second season, don't be that excited.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because usually they have already started making it.
Right.
Just because it's so expensive and it takes so much time.
God. Yeah, no, definitely.
So it's kind of weird that this didn't get a second season in that.
I was
regard.
actually looking at a Tumblr post about this guy's probably like an animator, and he was just ranting about how the writers get all the credit, even though the animators have to sit and redraw the same thing in just a centimeter away, or just like slightly different constantly and again and again.
Yeah.
And I was like,
they're not wrong.
Oh man, it was actually really funny.
Yeah. I wish we could credit every animator when we do this, but it would take too long.
It would indeed.
Which is why we try to credit as many important people as
right.
like the storyboard artists.
Mm-hmm.
Or the intro song artist.
Which is Cake, by the way.
Oh yeah, Cake did the intro to Mission Hill.
Right.
Which is a
and I don't know
thing.
this band.
They're pretty not indie, but like underground. Not underground. They're pretty popular. I don't know what I'm saying. You just haven't